Hi there, I'm Nick, I'm autistic and I also have ADHD, which can make my brain a little bit different. Today I've been thinking about how I've adjusted to being autistic, or should I say being diagnosed as autistic, because obviously I was born that way. I just didn't know I was autistic until I was 56. I never understood why I was different. In fact, I was actually trained to be afraid of my difference. Now I embrace it. And this is how. Firstly, I learnt to accept it. I learnt to accept that I am not some sort of weird, useless freak. I am not a danger to society. I just developed a little bit differently up here. I'm neurodiverse, and that diversity is an asset. The fact that my brain operates differently is a strength. It's not a weakness. I just need to learn how to work with it instead of trying to force it to work in the way that neurotypical brains do. That was my first step, accepting my difference. My second step was understanding that I need to make certain accommodations. It is actually necessary for me, for my own well-being, and it is not selfish. Once I'd accepted I need to make these accommodations for my unique little brain, then suddenly I felt okay to actually do that. I started to speak up and say when I needed time out. I was able to take on a little bit of additional volunteer work, but I've been able to clearly advocate for myself and set boundaries. I know how much I can do and under what circumstances. I have learnt to pace myself. I will carefully select volunteer shifts based on my needs. For example, how long the task is, how far away it is, how much human contact there will be, what are the likely sensory inputs and potential stresses, how much recovery time am I going to need. That's my planning phase. And from the planning phase, I had to move on to the testing phase. How much could I realistically do? I had to try different things. What sort of tasks actually worked for me? How long did it take me to recover from each of those tasks? So, over the last couple of months, I have dipped my toes in all sorts of different waters, tried all sorts of different things to work out what works for me. I've completed a variety of things that I never would have thought possible. Just short ones in different locations, and location is key to me. Environment is key. So I now know what works for me and what drains me, brings my battery down like that. You could almost watch it. I've also found that my autistic brain really likes to plan things out. ADHD will occasionally throw a spanner in the works, and instead of me taking organised small steps towards something, the ADHD part of me gets hugely enthused by any success, and then it charges off and wants to climb mountains. So when this happens, I have to take myself right back to the beginning and reinforce the acceptance and accommodation side of things and give myself time out to recover, which necessarily takes longer, which is probably why I haven't been on here for a while, because ADHD has had me jumping from mountain to mountain rather than taking lots of little sensible steps, and I've been quite exhausted in between. So now, by accepting myself as I am, including my limitations, I found that I can actually self-advocate. I've never done that in my life before. This in turn has helped me grow in confidence, and surprisingly, it's helped lessen my anxiety. I accept my differences. I embrace my strengths. I feel more complete as a person, and that is really a great feeling. If you think you may be and you're not sure, go and get yourself a formal diagnosis. It really is the most amazingly freeing experience. Thank you. Be well.